Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So what do you think? What does innovation look like in the next 5 to 10 years in the kidney space?
Oh, that's a great future to look at. We're one of the few rare disease categories that can say the future is looking incredibly bright. Um, so ideally, looking at the heterogeneity of the disease, right? We want to be able to give everybody something. And
Mm.
the reality is that not one drug is going to be the panacea for all nephrotic syndrome. It's going to be more along the lines of cancer therapies where this is your type, we're going to try this. If this doesn't work, we may add or replace that with something else. And so the technology looks to be a combination of things and having drugs that are tailored to a particular pathway and that can be used in combination. And the good news is that there's a lot of these on the horizon. And, as one of the, journals said, by, kidney's the new liver. NASH was the focus right back in the 2010 era. Now kidney is front and center. And so we're finally seeing some great stuff. So I would say, honestly, the technology, at a broad sense is looking beautiful. And we could spend days talking about the specific pathways because not only do we know those pathways, we've got targeted therapies for them.
Yeah, well, great comments. So, you mentioned oncology. It seems to me precision medicine was born in oncology, and it's quite mature there. They're evolving and moving away from defining cancer by the organ and now redefining it by the pathway. And that helps also point researchers to pathway inhibitors that provide specific treatments. Do you see something similar happening in the kidney?
I think that's spot on. I mean, the reality is that the kidney is an innocent bystander in a disease. And nephrotic syndrome is not a starting in the kidney. It's something that in the body humor overall, of course, has some insult going on with a pathway. And it's this poor kidney that happens to be in the way. And so if we deal with the pathway, and as you know, many pathways involve other organ systems, but we've also found pathways that are unique to the kidney. And so applying therapies that are broadly applicable to throughout the body that we're currently doing, right? We're borrowing off-label therapies that were never meant for the kidney. The poor kidney is a fragile organ.
Yeah.
And to use things from cancer that we're doing now with have broad toxicities, there's no free ride here. So the hope is that by being able to say, okay, you've got this type, and now we can match that to this, we can avoid other toxicities in the liver and the lungs and just the immune system in general.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just taking that nephrotic syndrome focus, given where NephCure is focused, do you see that happening amongst the various types of nephrotic syndrome? You mentioned that every two nephrotic syndrome patients look very different. Do you see multiple pathways emerging for the nephrotic syndrome patient population?
Oh yeah, it's so for people to understand who are not familiar with it, you first have CKD, right? So that's 1 in 10 Americans, depending on what data source you use. Some people 1 in 7, so that's 30 plus million Americans. Then you go to the more aggressive forms, which unfortunately are the rarer types that we're involved with, right? And that's the protein spilling nephrotic syndrome. And syndrome by definition is a collection of related but separate diseases. And then you go and you look at something, you have membranous nephropathy, and minimal change disorder, and IgA, some people, and then other people, FSGS. But the problem is FSGS, we label it a disease, but the truth is it's probably more like a syndrome in itself. It may be a subcategory, right? So we can't treat all FSGS patients the same way. And I think that really absolutely lends to the discussion that we're having is people have to appreciate that it is a very polyfactorial and very heterogeneous disease. And we have to recognize that as we apply treatments.